another
episode
of Casados podcast
with your host, Xochitl.
And Eduardo. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today.
We're back again.
We're back again, guys. Oh my God, isn't that crazy? Who would have thought?
Right? In less than a week, another one.
Yeah, I know.
Dijo el DJ Khaled, another one.
For reals. ¿Quién iba a decir que íbamos a tener tiempo? Right?
Right. The baby's asleep right now, so hay que aprovechar.
Mr. Leo is asleep. He's been sleeping a lot, which is good. It's good,
he hadn't pooped for 3 days.
Yeah.
Finally, he pooped this morning. And did he poop? Like,
guys, like we told you last episode, if you watch it.
And if you didn't, go back and watch it.
Yes.
Right
we
now.
Talked about how happy you get when babies poop.
Yep.
And I never thought we would get that happy.
Yes.
And we jumped.
Literally. I was
like, thank you, Jesus.
Oops. I felt like that kid from Hey Arnold.
But yeah, guys, well, today is Monday. Happy Monday.
Woo.
Today is the first day of fall.
That's why I fell off the bed this morning. Me dolió. Me caí de la cama en que andaba.
No, he did not fall.
I almost did though. Got me sleeping on the edge of the bed.
And that's 'cause
she takes like 37%. The baby takes everything but 3% that I get left.
That's a lie. He's just scared that he's gonna squish the baby.
Guys.
Because if you don't know, I know this is gonna get a little maybe controversial. Because a lot of people actually. I'm on TikTok. Usually I'm on TikTok. I see that they don't like. They shame a lot of moms that let babies sleep with them, like co-sleep.
They shame everybody. They shame you if you don't sleep with your dogs. They shame you if you sleep with your dogs. They shame you if you sleep with a child. They shame you.
They say it's not safe, but so far, I mean, thankfully to God, he's been okay, and that's the only way he sleeps. So, I mean, if he's going to sleep, I'm going to leave him there.
I mean, do you guys really think cavemen had cribs for their baby to sleep on? Like, no, they just fucking all huddled up together. You know, so, yeah. And plus, he's our baby. We do what we want.
But yeah, guys, anyways, so like we said last episode that we were going to go into more details of what happened
Dun, dun, dun. Once we got home from the
hospital. Dun, dun, dun.
Insert music here. Just kidding. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
So, like we had said, right? We got discharged from the hospital with the baby. Everything was good. We get home. And pretty much I felt okay. I mean, I felt obviously a little weak, like, you know, but again, I thought it was all normal.
She felt good for after just giving a C-section birth.
Yes.
You know.
Like that, right? So my mom was here. She made us food for maybe the next 3 days. And they left. When they left, we were here with the baby. I was laying down, whatever, you know. And pretty much that day when we got back, right? When we were here at the house, when we just got back, the only thing I did feel as soon as I got here was cold.
Yep.
I was shivering. I had to get a blanket.
And it was June, guys.
Yeah, it was
Arizona.
Super hot outside. So I felt cold. I felt shivering. But again, I just had a big cut, you know. I had, you know, obviously less more blood than usual, whatever. I felt like it was normal for me to feel this way. My mom was just kind of like, okay, well, go lay down, you know, rest and stuff. You have to eat. She kept telling me, right? So that night, I was fine. I just felt cold as soon as I got home from the hospital, but that was pretty much it. The next day, that's when everything kind of started going. I started feeling cold, shivering, having episodes like that specifically that would come and go. But it was once a day only.
Yeah, like...
It wasn't like every single minute I felt cold. No. It was like episodes. Like, let's say at 2 p.m. It was
just
always
random.
in the afternoon for some reason.
Yeah, just random though.
And I was trying to pump. I was trying to breastfeed. I was trying to do all that. So as soon as I felt like I was going to go, like I was going to pump, and as soon as I was like pumping, afterwards is when I kind of started feeling that way. So it would get like afternoonish, and then Edward would right away tell that I was getting
because
that.
her lips would go white. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And the only thing I felt, I wasn't having fevers. It was literally cold. I was just feeling the chills. I had to go in the room, cover myself, and tell Eduardo to turn off the air.
Yeah, and then literally with like cobijas tras cobijas, like parecía como si estuviéramos en diciembre.
Yeah.
And
it was,
nada que ver.
and I was still cold. And it would go away within like next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It wouldn't last that long. So it was like 30 minutes. And then there was times where I was like, go stand outside, maybe because it's hot outside, you know? Yeah. And I would go outside, step out a little bit.
And you're like, oh, okay. You're like,
I'm like, yeah, it feels good. And then I would come back. So that went on for quite a bit.
2 days, like a day and a half or 2.
3 days, I think.
Yeah, that episode's hot.
Yeah,
and then at first we're like, what is it? What is it? So we're like, you know what? It might be your blood sugar. It might be low blood sugar. Because she did end up getting that while she was still pregnant with him. And it turned out because it was gastric bypass. And then, you know, she wasn't really eating heavy protein in the morning. So once she changed that while she was pregnant, she was good again. So I'm like, y again, habíamos obviamente llegado al hospital. Estaba cansada, no había comido bien. So I'm like, eso va a ser. Me imagino que eso va a ser. Lo malo que pues no teníamos el glucometer.
Yeah, we didn't have it. We lost it at my mom's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then because I was over there at the end of my pregnancy, staying over there because supposedly I was going to get called or whatever. But anyways.
So we didn't have it. So we're guessing, right? So we're like, you know what? A ver, trata de comer.
Also, though, because you kept giving me Sunny D.
Oh, and that was helping.
And it would help.
That's true. That's where we're like, because the only thing, because you'd be like, oh, I feel, and we had like the big, like pre-filled ones, and not ball it now, of like the Sunny D's, like the squeeze bottles, and I would go take her one, and then she would like drink half, and like that would make it go from 30 minutes to maybe within like 10, 12 minutes she was feeling good again.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
it was weird.
And then obviously, right, you connect A with B and you're like, all right, so low blood sugar, you give her a sugary drink and then she's feeling good again. It's gonna be that, you know. So we're like, make sure you're eating.
Literally was the sugars.
So she started eating better, you know, right before pumping, because we're like, well, obviously if you're pumping, your body's gonna like, I need more fuel and you don't have it.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, obviamente uno se pone las cosas en la mente. So we're like, okay, está bien, vamos a
But for some reason, I couldn't eat that much either.
And that too, yeah, like it was.
Like I wasn't hungry. I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
And mind you, I was trying to breastfeed, and I was pumping. So I was like, why am I not getting as much hungry when I'm doing all this, right? But I was not.
And we're throwing it at the gastric bypass because we're like, well, I mean, that, you know,
maybe
and then
I'm not hungry or something.
And then the baby's not in there anymore, making you be like antojos and craving.
So that was kind of like the main things. And then
on the third day, though, of that happening, we're like, you know what? We don't have a glucose meter. And she made a virtual call with her OB that day for the following day.
Yeah.
That the same day, actually. That same day.
They gave me an appointment for that same day with the MD there at the OBGYN office.
And then she said that it sounded to her to be a good idea to get the glucose meter. So we told her kind of what we thought, and obviously she was like, well, that makes sense.
And again, they kept telling me, is your incision okay?
Oh yeah. Oh, and then I kept checking for her every day. Like, no colors, no swelling, anything.
No. And I was like, no. I'm like, I'm not in pain. I'm not even drinking Tylenol. I'm not. They had sent me with pain medication. I didn't need it.
I've seen haggis with worse sew-up jobs than that, and I'll be honest, and that was a great sew-up job. So I was like, as long as it doesn't look like haggis from 2007 from O'Reilly's Pub, we're good to go. You know?
Yeah. So I remember, I was like, okay, we'll go that day because we were going to go with the baby to his appointment.
Yep.
And we went to the baby's appointment, and then we went to Fry's.
Yes. So we went to baby's appointment. Everything was good. Yeah, and then went to Fry's to go get the glucose meter and just chucherías.
Yeah. And then we got walked a little bit around the store because we were getting stuff. And then I told him, I was like, you know what, I'm getting tired. And that's when we're like, okay, let's go home already. Like, let's get whatever we're gonna get. And then he's like, if you need more stuff, well, I'll come back by myself. I'm like, okay. So, because I felt kind of out of breath. That was another thing.
Was it. She was feeling out of breath and a little tired, but she wasn't feeling like shaky. Her lips weren't looking weird either. So I was like, it was over like, pues obviamente you just got home. You're tired from it. We've been walking around. Let's go. We got the main thing we need. We got the glucose meter. Vámonos, fierro.
Yeah.
We come home. As we're getting home, she's like,
I get it.
She's like shaky a little bit, like, and she sits down and I see it and I'm like, your lips are turning white again. She's like, I know, I'm feeling. I'm like, good. get the glucose meter. Let's start measuring your stuff out already. Cool. So we're getting that ready, and I can see her lips. She's like feeling. She's like, I'm cold again. Like we turn off the fan, you know. So then she finally like se pica. We do the test. 91, perfect.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
I said, what is it?
All right.
So that day, so we let that day pass, and then I started talking to my grandma on the phone, and then I was feeling out of breath every time I was talking. So I was like, I don't like that. But then I was like, I don't know, but in my head I was like, I don't have a fever. And then because I had talked to my mom earlier the day before, and she was like, she had texted me saying, oh, one of my coworkers said that her daughter got an infection right after C-section. You need to go to the doctor. I'm like, Mom, I'm okay. I was like, I just feel cold. I don't have fever, nothing, right? But that was a previous day. That next day when everything, we went to Fry's and everything, I talked to my dad and I talked to my grandma that day. And I did tell my dad and my grandma that I was feeling out of breath, but I thought it was normal. And then my grandma's like, oh, well, just, rest and make sure you're eating and da-da-da. So then that night, I was laying down. It was already late, huh? It was like 8?
Yeah, it was like 8, 9-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, it was around that time. I was laying down with the baby in the bed, and
you were feeding him, actually.
I was feeding him?
Yeah, that's what it was. You were feeding him.
I just remember.
Speaking of the baby, he just heard him on the monitor. I'll go get her in a second, but.
Yeah. So anyways, I was, so pretty much I was laying down, and I remember telling, Eduardo, I was like, you know what? Like in my head, I was thinking, I was like, should I, like, I told him, I was like, babe, I was like, I'm literally like, I can't breathe. I told him, I was like, I can't breathe, but I was like, I think we're going to have to go to the hospital, but I don't want to go to the hospital. I was like, because of the baby. I kept telling him. And then he was like, well, let's go to the hospital. He's like, call your mom. And then I was like, okay, but I was like, what if we call the paramedics first?
We're like kind of debating that. And then you start going like, and I look at you and I'm like, what's wrong? You're like, just having more heart. And I can see, and I'm like, you know what? No. And I'm like, because you had also mentioned, or what about at the 911? I'm like, are you feeling that bad? You're like, no, actually, maybe I'm like over, like, but then that's when I kept looking at you. I'm like, are you exaggerating? Or I'm like, what's wrong? You're like, just kind of having a hard time breathing. And I'm like, I've had asthma all my life. I know how it is. And I'm seeing her and I'm seeing her lips and I'm like, you know what? This is going to be her missing oxygen or something. And then they had also said, be careful for her blood clots. She had gotten a little blood clots while she was in the hospital still, but everything cleared up. And we were scared if she had developed some in the lungs, that might happen. So we're like, those are bad. So I'm like, okay, you know what? A mí ya me dio más miedo también. Y dije, no, we're calling 911. Shout out to you guys, by the way. I wish I would remember their names from Eloy Fire Department. Great dudes, man. They came literally fast.
You know what? The whole time, when you were like, they're coming in and stuff, I was like, in my head, I was like, how are they going to come all the way in? I'm like, am I going to have to walk over there? Like, I was thinking about all this stuff. Heck no, right away. They got in the
whole stretcher.
The stretcher and everything. But anyways, before that, they took my vitals. Everything was good except my pulse was very high, she said.
Elevated.
My oxygen was perfect.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, so then she's not oxygen. As you guys, that's him. Okay, I'll go get him. She'll tell you guys the story.
So they said blood pressure was a little bit, but nothing crazy. Pulse was high. He said that my oxygen was perfectly fine. He also said the only thing they did see was that my body was hot, like hot, but it didn't show them such a big temperature. But since I didn't mention I just had a C-section, they did say, we're going to take you in because we don't know if it could be worse. So we just want them to check you out. And I was like, okay. But I was literally half in, half out, to be honest. I don't know. I was still like, I felt like I was trying to breathe the whole time. So yeah, they take me, we got there, which felt forever for some reason. We get there, they started taking my vitals again, asking me questions. They even said, you're very hot, like your body's hot. And when I get there, for some reason, I don't have a temperature though, but my body is super hot, like super, super, super hot. And then they were like, we don't understand how. your body's that hot and you don't have a temperature. So I get there, they start testing, draw blood, and they start doing their magic, right? I end up getting a CT scan. Su babita, babe. So they end up doing a CT scan. I was there. I called my mom. My mom ended up driving all the way here. Shout out to her to take care of the baby, so Eduardo could be at the hospital with me.
Thank you, suegra.
But he wasn't able to go with me because of the baby, so he was gonna go meet me there. And then after the CT scan, they come in, and because the CT scan, I had already told you what they said it was. So yeah, so as soon as they did the CT scan, they saw a hematoma they said at that time pockets of fluid collected, right? So they're like, it's most likely an infection going on in there, but we don't feel comfortable doing anything.
And then the also thing the doctor told me was just roughly almost about the size of a dime. So it was so small that they're like, usually we see these just get reabsorbed. So we don't know.
Like it's your body's not absorbing it, I guess, at that time. So we don't know if that's causing the infection in the tissue, muscle. We don't know. But they're like, since you did not have a baby here, you don't have your OBGYN here. We have one, but we don't know if he's gonna want to do anything, because again, we don't want to do something that should not be done, pretty much, or you don't need it and then we end up doing it or something, right? So he's like, I recommend for you to go to where you had your baby. And I was like, okay, because we could transfer you. Shout out to them. They tried transferring me in an ambulance there. They couldn't, because every freaking hospital said that they didn't have rooms for me. And they ended up telling me.
What a surprise, because as soon as she drove herself to Scottsdale, there's plenty of rooms.
And they ended up telling me, that so they're like, if you feel comfortable enough, we feel bad not keeping you. He goes, but I want you to get the care you need. So if you could drive down there. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm gonna have to. Like, I can't be like this. I don't know what's going on. I was scared. I was crying. I was like, what's gonna happen? I have an infection. I had told my mom. I was like, I told you. And I was like, I know. I was like, I should have came earlier, because I don't know what was going on with me. Eduardo gets there. He brings me back home. My mom ends up taking me to the hospital. Eduardo stays here with the baby, and his journey begins with the baby by himself. Dum, dum, dum. And then,
you guys want to hear that story? Stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah, pretty much that'll be his story to tell, because I wasn't here during those times. So pretty much I get to the hospital over there. They admit me. I was going through the ER. They see me. They pretty much knew who I was, because they kept calling them about me. Because when I got there, they're like, oh, wait, we know you. Yeah, they kind of knew already what was going on. So then, I told them everything. They're like, you had your baby here? I'm like, yes. And then, so they end up running same testing. And I had told them that I didn't tell them they had tested me at Banner yet, because I wanted them to do their own test. So then they did, and they end up finding the same exact thing. But at this time, they're reaching out to my OB. She finds out, and she wants to open. She wants to do surgery again. She wants to open up the C-section and see what's going on in there. While they end up, because as mind you, over there, they had to go through the hospital doctor, through the general surgeons, through the specialist that was treating me at that time, because they knew it was an infection, but they didn't know where. So it was an infection specialist, hospital doctor, my OBGYN, and general surgeons looking into all the CT scans. So they were going back and forth. OB wants to open. General surgeon says no.
And then the head of surgery is the one that...
Yeah. And so pretty much the main surgeon, the head of surgery said no reason to open. It's going to resolve on its own. We just have to treat it with antibiotics. So they started treating me with antibiotics since I got there.
Oh, and then they did the cultures as well.
They did cultures, blood cultures.
They're going to take 3 days.
Mind you, they were poking me every single day. At least
every other hour.
At least every other hour. Poking me. It got to the point I was crying every day. Put it that way. Crying because I was in pain, not because of my C-section. I was in pain because they were poking me. Couldn't find my veins. My veins would blow out. They had to do a midline. I ended up having blood clots on my arms because of the veins being blown out. It was horrible. Very, very, very bad. And the whole time I was scared that they were going to have to open because my OB said if we open, we could find out what's going on. But then surgery was like, if we open and it's in the muscle, not in the tissue, then we open for no reason because the muscle we can't touch. And she's going to be opened. And get worse and more infection and everything. So no. And they left it on like that. I was getting treated by antibiotics. And then because of the strong antibiotics, they were trying antibiotics, different kind of antibiotics at once. Like 3 kinds at once. And my kidneys started failing. Fungal infection. They gave me so much stuff. I don't even know. And I started becoming friends with the nurses because I was there for so long. I thought I was never getting out. I think I've never prayed, never asked for God to heal me that much like I did during those times. It was horrible. And then not being with the baby was the worst part from everything. Because I'm like, I'm a new mom. Everybody knew there at the hospital I was a new mom because every time they would tell me, I would start crying. And then knowing that Eduardo didn't have help from anyone. I mean, he had the help because people were offering, but he was like, I'm good by myself because I get anxiety. And he was by himself pretty much. But, shout out to everybody that was in touch with me, went to visit me. And people were reaching out, talking, asking if Eduardo needed help with the baby, they could bring him over and all these things. But I was like, no, leave the baby where he needs to be, like I thank you, but no. And yeah, so I was just, my mom and my dad kept, shout out to them. I love them so much because they never left my side. My mom would go, she would sleep.
Me, by the way, she would message me every day too. ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo estás tú? ¿Cómo está el niño? Like, I'm like, yeah, le mandaba fotos. I was like, we're good, we're surviving.
Yeah, and my mom would sleep there and go to work, get ready there, go to work, come back, stay there. It was just, a lot of stuff. I really thought I was never getting out. I think Eduardo knew. There was times where I was like, babe, I don't think I'm gonna make it out. And even when they were talking about, there was a time where the hospital doctor came and said, no more food, no more nothing, because you might be going into surgery to reopen everything, drain and whatever. And I was like, what? I was like, and because I had lost so much blood, they had to do 3 blood transfusions. And they had to do that 3rd one because they're like, if you go into surgery, we want to make sure you have enough blood. But every time they would run testing, they're like, you're not absorbing all that blood we just gave you. So like, what's going on?
Are you internally bleeding?
So the infection doctor, shout out to him. He was
so
pretty cool.
For the cultures too, though. He was like, 3 days we're gonna figure this out. Like, I'm gonna just pump you with some drugs right now. And then the 3rd day came.
Yeah, no, and
The 3rd day came.
nothing.
Nothing grew in those cultures. Nothing grew in those cultures. My mic is off. It's on mute. I didn't. But yeah, nothing grew in the culture. So I was telling her, you'll be good. Just give it 3 days. When the cultures come out, they'll be like, it's this mofo that's getting you sick, and then they're gonna target it. Mm-hmm. When she calls me, and I'm like, so they tell you, you're like, yeah, nothing grew. Like nothing grew. Which we're still amazed. Like, what do you mean? So then the infection coming out in her blood, like her blood work, but it wasn't growing cultures out anymore. I don't know. It's still weird to me. I'm not a doctor, obviously.
Yeah.
But I did watch Scrubs.
Oh my god. So when they would tell me they didn't know, they were just trying every antibiotics to see which one was working. The infection specialist, I remember him saying, he would grab his head and he's like, how are you feeling? Literally, any symptoms new, anything for us is key. They're like, any new symptoms is key, any new feelings are key. What are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm okay. I just get, and the other thing is that because they're like, you know what? Your temperatures. That was another thing. Yeah. Fever, was already involved, because at the beginning fever was not an issue. Once I got it admitted, was an issue. It was going from literally being at 98 to 103, the highest. And they're like, we can't let you go home, even if the antibiotics are working, but you're still having fevers. So your body's fighting something. So my fever. So every time I would get a fever, I would get more sad, because I'm like, okay. Because they were recording every fever that I would get.
They wanted you at least
24 hours with no fever. And then one time, baby went to visit me. Yes, he went to go visit mama. And they went to visit me, and I thought I was good. I wasn't, I hadn't had a fever in all morning. As soon as baby gets there, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, I get a fever. And
as we're there,
as they were there, and I was like,
we were like at the we just needed 4 more hours, and you would have been the 24 hours.
Yeah,
we're almost there. We're like, you're gonna be out by tomorrow. Watch, like the visit wasn't even necessary. But.
Yeah. It was a journey. Finally, when kidney started failing, now the kidney specialist, he said, you will not be going home until those numbers pass the borderline. And I was like, mind you,
she's already crossed one border.
So mind you, my bad numbers are if you're at number 4, when your kidney levels go, that means you're really bad. They're not functioning at all. But I was still going to the restroom and all that. So they're like, okay, but your functions are still not okay. So they're like, they have to be below at least a 2. I was like, okay. So every day they would check my everything. And the kidney specialist would go every single day and check on me. He's like, I'm sorry, not letting you go yet. And I was like, he goes, I know you want to be there, but I don't want you to come back with the same issue and it's worse. I was like, okay. I'm like, no, I get it. I was like, I understand. So I got to a point where I understood, and they never did the surgery, they said, so I was happy about that. I'm like, you made me starve for no reason. But even then, when I was at the hospital, I couldn't even eat. My stomach hurted. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Here. No way, Jose.
That's hilarious.
You did a special entry.
Father, you good?
Acuéstalo poquito. Acuéstalo en tu brazo poquito, que no esté tan sentado. There you go. Mm-hmm.
Are you looking? Trying to get up already.
I know, he doesn't like being like that, but... Stop it. But yeah, so pretty much that went down. Thankfully, I'm home now. They still don't know what happened. They still don't know what infection I got. They just knew if it was the incision or the inside with the muscle tissue, whatever it was, some antibiotic they gave me helped. And till this day, they still don't know. But yeah, that was my journey. And that's why I was in the hospital for so long.
11 days.
And he was...
No, technically 12 days. You
yeah.
were in the hospital.
Yeah, I was there for 2 weeks and a half. And as soon as I got out of the hospital, I came for my baby. And then we went home with my mom, because she's like, you're not going home until I feel like you're better to go home, because I don't want it to get worse for some reason, or you get it, because they kept telling me, make sure you don't get fevers when you're home. And pues sí, and again, because they didn't know what was wrong, so they really were just on the lookout for anything that came up. But we're happy, and I thank God. Like I said, I've never prayed so much in my life since, until I was in that position. And I thank God every day for this miracle baby of ours. Because, sea lo que sea, I think that stood with me when my mom one day told me, I was crying, and she was like, just think about it. Your baby, gracias a Dios, está sanito. You're here. Pero como padre, she goes, yo quisiera estar en tu lugar. Y yo estar ahí, no tú. Pero... imagine if it was your baby instead and not you. I'm like, yeah, I would give my life to be here instead of my baby. So I'm glad he's been okay since. He's not a little he's not very delicado from his stomach. I hear a lot of babies, pobrecitos, that get very sick from the stomach with milk.
What just happened. That's rare.
Yeah. But he's been good. He's a happy baby. Yeah. He's a happy baby. He loves his mama and dada. But yeah, I thank everybody for, I really want to give a shout out to my madrina, Lorena, and Bridget. Oh my God, you guys, I love you guys so much. My madrina for intervening with the nurses when they knew they were doing something bad. and I wouldn't speak up because I didn't really know, and I was just thinking they were doing their job, you know, and that's another story. But I thank them for being there for me, and Bridget for literally taking her time, being a mom of 3 and working and everything, and still going to visit me and spending time with me. But yeah, guys, that was my little journey after birth, and I would do it all over again for this baby, for this beautiful baby. I would do a millions of times for you, Papa. Yes, for you. Yes, for you. But yeah, do you want to say anything?
Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
And you guys will hear his side of the story.
Yes.
While he was here by himself with baby for 11 days as a newborn.
Dun, dun, dun.
So thank you guys so much for staying tuned. Again, vamos a regresar con más videos, más historias. Ya viene spooky season. If you know, you know. We'll probably bring my grandma back and her telling her stories.
Yes. So stay tuned for everything coming up. Big things, small things, medium things, venti things, all kinds of things. Oh, someone just farted on my lap.
You want to teach Auntie Mama? No? Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for watching Casados podcast. Bye.